Green Arrow issue 10, written by Benjamin Percy and Jean Ferreira back on art. I will say I was pleasantly surprised. Well, maybe surprised isn't the right word, but relieved that we were back to a strong issue after the last couple, which were a bit more shaky.
Yeah, it went from a grindhouse movie to a straight up action movie. Because even the art in this one had some sheen to it.
Yeah.
That mimicked that look of an action movie.
It's funny actually, because see back in issue like 3 or 4 when Faria first came on and Schmidt left for a few issues, and I said that I kind of loved his art almost as much, if not more, than Schmidt's, because it was the issue of him breaking into the building and how that was like, it felt very Die Hard, and the motion in his art really lent itself to it. How fitting is it that he came back to do a story on a train?
Yep.
Where it's if that last issue was Die Hard, then this issue is Under Siege, or Under Siege 2 specifically.
That's what I was gonna say. Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
Yeah, where they're sneaking about on a train, and now don't get me wrong, the reasons they got to the train from the last issue were really weird and contrived. But now that we're on the train, I'm having a lot of fun. There's an assassin on board. They're chasing him down. Black Canaries,
fantastic.
Dressing up, and she somehow gets a bird on the dress, even though it's a dress she just stole from somewhere.
Yep. If this was an episode of Arrow, it would be my favorite episode.
Probably, yeah.
And that doesn't say much, because again, I stopped watching 2 years ago. But if it had more of this tone, I would love it.
Yeah, it's super fun. You know me, I love a bottle style story, and this is all set on the train as they're speeding through, and the idea that Canary's like mingling with the powered guests, and one of them gets murdered. So we're doing, it's even called the murder on the instead of
Trans-Pacific.
No, it's not Trans-Pacific. That's not a title of the story. No.
Oh man, I didn't pay attention.
I'll tell you in a second.
Look it up.
On you go.
But yeah, I was gonna say, because she's talking to this guy and he reveals himself to be like a major businessman. And as he's, holding a toast up of champagne, it's poisoned by the assassin, who I think was sent by the Ninth Circle, because you were not going to get away from them too much. So, but Diggle and Oliver and Canary all team up, and they're each doing something different, because it's kind of Diggle's the one that discovers the assassin, because when he crashes in through the window of the train, someone recognizes him, and it felt a bit off. And then when, we get away from him, and by the time we get him, he's been beaten up, and, he lets them know there's an assassin. So it hit all of those action movie beats quite well.
Excellent.
And the way that it juggled, I feel Green Arrow at this point is about Canary and Diggle and Emmy as much as it is about Oliver, and I love that.
It should be, yeah. Pacing was great, everything about it. Like I say, the art had that sense of motion constantly. Even at the start, when they're actually just trying to get onto the train, and they're just running to get it. It's just a classic action movie thing, but it works so well. And the story's actually called Murder on the Empire Express.
Empire Express, that's right. Yeah. And was this the issue where he gets the boxing glove arrow?
Yeah.
On the train? Yeah.
Yeah, uses the boxing glove arrow. Yeah. He said it's the equivalent of a silencer. For arrows. Yeah. Even though arrows in and of themselves are already pretty silent.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not sticking them in someone. Yeah, although, knowing what I know about physics, still a boxing glove arrow is going to do some internal damage, and you might have ruined that guy's life. But still, whatever. He was a bad guy. What do you want?
Sure.
But yeah, the art in this one too is fantastic. But we've gone on and on about that. But each page, there's something a lot like Superman, but not, for me, not as much. There was that panel looks great.
Yeah, there's a lot of great. I feel like this one had a lot of good sequential stuff, where the panels led to each other really succinctly, and gave you that fluid motion, which is great.
Cinematic.
That's a good word. But no, that was really good. It was pretty simple. I feel like there was not a lot to analyse, but it doesn't matter. It was fun. It was good.
And see, I'm wondering with this double shipping schedule that we're going to get a lot more of these smaller arcs, and if that's the case, awesome. Because I like these. It helps with when you are reading as much, at least that I am, it's nice to have these smaller stuff interrupts the longer stories. And when you get to the longer stories, it feels more meaty because there's more of it.
Also,
So
just as much as it feels like a typical action movie, at the same time, you know it's in the DC universe because it's a train that goes all the way from the Pacific coast of the US all the way to, is it China?
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
And Oliver's dad, it was his dream
yeah.
project.
It's an underwater train, kind of like the Channel, from England to France, but it
Yep.
goes all the way through an ocean.
It also kind of reminded me of Snowpiercer a bit, like
Oh,
because
yeah,
you had all
a
the
little
rich
bit.
people
Yeah.
in the ballroom car basically of it, and they're all looking around underneath the ocean.
Yeah, I can see
So
it. Uh,
yeah,
Almost, if you want to have a crossover, I feel like Aquaman should maybe like see the train going past and be like, "Wait a minute, there's a train going
that's
through."
not supposed to be there. What's going on?
Forget the fact that it probably took them like 50 years to construct the whole thing, but you know.
Yeah.